101.3 FM.
Montreal, my city. One of my favorite guys in the world, let me tell you. My personal therapist, Tata. I feel like we in therapy right now. He hit me up, he said, listen, man, I got an event to promote. I'm gonna get him up there. He is one of our few, very, very few black therapists we have in Quebec. I think it's you and David Archer. and that's pretty much it. I've given your contact number to a plethora of people. We're good for... Blackmail, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know,
just correcting. You know how people are going to be quick to email us or say something.
So he's one of my favorite guys. We are personal friends as well. Mr. Khan Bouba is in the building with us. How you doing, King?
Not bad. Thank you for having me.
I didn't know we were still friends. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't had a message in a little bit. And now you want us to link up, but I'm going to Africa.
Ouch.
So how you been? You hobbled in here. I told you stop playing at those little old man youth leagues.
I've been all right. The ankle's been a bit better, but we're going to see just how bad the damage is. Trying to avoid surgeries.
Well, listen, come to Westmount Surgery Center. I got you, man.
Appreciate
You know I do things. So how you been, you know, before we get into the event that you want to promote, how you been? I haven't seen you in a while. I know you have your own practice. I know you've done programs, you've done workshops. Shout out to Khan. Khan got me involved with SWORD, which is the program at John Abbott College where they match professionals with students.
The mentorship program.
Yeah, the mentorship program. But Khan is one of the guys that created the program for them.
Okay, awesome.
Shout out to Megan on the go. I be having dinner and stuff with them. They good people, man. So thank you for that. I'm having a great time mentoring these young kids. But what have you been up to lately?
Outside of just doing my clinical practice work, I've been working on a couple of presentations and some workshops. And I recently finished designing and running the first cohort for a training that I designed for mental health professionals and professionals in general.
So how did that go? Was that hard to train other professionals? Did they think they know more than you?
No, it was, so the training essentially it was designed for mental health professionals, but you can extend it to healthcare professionals as a whole. The idea behind it is a training designed to help support professionals who are working with black clients.
Okay,
so the
awesome.
idea behind it is that black therapists are rare within the field, right? Black therapists are rare in the field of mental health. And
Men and women.
Especially on the Anglophone side. So
Yeah.
realistically, the vast majority of all black people going towards therapy are going to work with either a white therapist or someone outside of the community. Statistically, BIPOC and black individuals terminate at 50% rate or more after the first session.
Oh, yeah.
And about 50 to 70% experience microaggressions within therapy. So the idea is, while the field looks to change, how do we stop the bleeding and make sure the community can get safe and appropriate care, and then that professionals are equipped with the tools or the knowledge to provide that.
Okay, awesome. So you have this. So you're here today to
talk about something else.
Okay, yes, to promote these new sessions that you're doing in collaboration with the Black Healing Center. Can you talk a little bit about the design around these discussion groups for Black men and how this came about?
So, in terms of how it came about, all credit to the Black Healing Center. The Black Healing Center, I think about 2 years ago, reached out to me and asked me if I would want to be a part of this project. And so I had the pleasure of designing the program and then facilitating the program for the first time last year, which went really well. So the way the program is designed is it's a 12-week program where the goal is not for it to be therapy, but for it to be therapeutic. So the idea behind it is you hear more and more narratives about how black men tend not to seek help or support, or tend not to take care of their mental health. And so, or their ability to make space for vulnerability, or the fact that they're hurting.
Yeah.
The idea behind it is to provide black men with an opportunity to discuss experiences of black men and have those experiences either validated or to learn from the experiences of other people and to have that space or that healing occur in a culturally authentic way, which is within community.
Yeah.
So the other idea behind it is to build communities of black men who ideally continue those relationships beyond it.
That's awesome. You know, I love Weezy. Weezy and I are always on the same brain level. I facilitated a panel discussion. Well, I didn't facilitate a panel. I was on a panel discussion on mental health care, maternal health care. My focus is always for Black and Indigenous and racialized folk, because that's just me. And we were talking about how important it is for especially the Black community, to normalize, destigmatize, reframe, and reclaim. So I everywhere I go, especially with the clients that I work with, I always focus on normalizing their experiences. And I realize, especially with Black men, mental health, Caribbean family, we cannot talk about it like that. Mental health to some Caribbean men seems mental weakness, right? So how are you in these workshops or these group discussions gonna destigmatize the whole, how people feel when it comes to mental health and having those discussions?
So I think there's a lot of ways in which we're able to accomplish what we're trying to do. And so one of the things I said before that's really important, it's not therapy. So what we did, the way that the program is designed essentially is I selected each session, which is about 90 minutes, focuses on a topic. The topics were chosen by me to capture or represent common aspects of the Black male experience, or things that are important to talk about, rather than make it about therapy. There's only one session that's clearly about that, and that's trauma within the Black community, but that needs its space.
Okay.
And so what the program is designed to do essentially is have topics that essentially Black men can't help but want to talk about because they're inescapable. And realize that it's not about mental health. The idea behind it is about wellness, and that's a universal in terms of what people can understand.
Yeah.
So we don't make it about therapy. We don't frame it as mental health. We talk about the experience. We model and allow an opportunity and space to communicate that. It's not a safe space. There's room for disagreement. We don't build rules. We set a culture, and that's established throughout the process of the program.
I like, slow down. I like how you say that, because people have been throwing around this whole safe space thing, and I'm like, I need brave spaces, you know what I mean? Forget the safe spaces, because, there's stuff that we need to discuss that will be triggering, especially within the Black community. So I like how you said it's not a safe space, it's a brave space,
I think it's about modeling and also developing the skill of healthy disagreement.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're allowed to disagree. We set the tone and letting people know that there are things that might really trigger or go against your values, but you gotta speak your own narratives and truths rather than focus on trying to change minds.
Okay.
And so things might be difficult, but there's also a measure of protection based on how we set the culture, and it is still led by two mental health professionals.
Yeah.
The idea behind that too is we need to see us in those roles and those positions as Black people, and I think as Black men as a whole, and that it has to be done and sound and feel in a way that's relatable and not something that we feel is kind of like been imposed or forced on our culture.
Yeah.
And so that's the idea that behind it, what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And you said it's not just focusing on mental health, but wellness, right?
So I can give you ideas of the topics.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about defining your Blackness.
I call you Black, that's crazy.
Black masculinity. Fatherhood, but not in terms of having to be a father. The experience of it, whether as a father or on the other end as a son.
Okay, yeah.
We do sense of belonging, self-care. We talk about legacy. We talk about experiences with racism. I mentioned about trauma within the Black community in terms of that's very educational.
I love this approach. It's a little sneaky.
I tell
now that I think about it, I'm so inspired.
I tell you right now.
It's like how to pimp the mind. You know what I mean? It's like you are getting to the same outcome without going there.
Yeah, like we do. Like the easiest topic that I chose when I decided this was dating within the black community.
Yeah.
And people were like, wow. I was like, what dude does not want to talk about dating with the black
Exactly.
community? And I was like, it's just nothing more than that.
And then it will flow into probably attachment styles and like, you know, healthy dating habits, not dating habits and stuff like that.
Where the group or the community takes it. And so
Okay. So you flow with whatever the discussion goes.
There are questions. So the first group that we had, I always had about 15 to 20 questions for every topic, and only went through. One time we went to 4 questions.
Okay.
On average.
That's
so
awesome.
So the goal is exactly that. Ideally, it's organic and it flows, and they take control. It's not redirected back anywhere.
Yeah.
But if it gets stagnant or people kind of need like a little spark, I easily have enough questions or topics or like ideas on how to do that.
Yo, my ego's going because I know there's not a lot of stuff like that is done for black men, but I'm just like, I feel like there needs to be something like that for black women. Cause okay, hear me out. Cause a lot of the stuff in spaces where for black women, I feel like it doesn't come at us like that. You know what I mean? It's not so like.
Khan is with us.
You know what I mean? It's more like formalized in a way. Like we have to come there showing up.
But I'll get her on the show. On the flip side of Khan, there's Natasha Pennycook.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get her on the show.
Okay.
You just wasn't on the show we had her. She's the female Khan.
Okay, awesome. Because I love that. That's real discussions. And
this is why he's my therapist.
Yeah.
Khan saved my life. I have no shame saying that. He see me in some dark places. You remember when I had the bad trip?
Yeah.
Khan saved me.
Oh,
you know what I mean? When the Molly had me kind of sideways, Khan saved me.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, even as a black man, you know, I think I'm pretty well adjusted in terms of I don't have a problem saying I need help. I don't have a problem asking somebody for help. But even like, you know, I never told you this, even like calling you the first couple times, I'm like, yo, man. I was telling myself, shit, I'm really going for therapy.
You really find good therapists.
Yeah, but I was really in a bad place. And I think a lot of other black men, I've spoken to other black guys, I've heard me tell this story on the show. A lot of guys are afraid to make that first step. Say, hey, listen, I need help. Brother, I know this is what you do. Can I extend a hand? And I think there's a lot, in that, there's a lot of things there too.
You know, all your conversations with therapy, this is funny. As much as I might counsel and offer psychosocial support to clients, I have never really gone to a therapist. Like you said, Khan, I went to, back in the day when I was like, you know, having suicidal ideation and was really at a bad point, I went to see a therapist. They were white. Face cold, muggy. They want to pry into my life, no emotion, not even staring at me in my eyes, looking down at the paper. Don't take notes while I'm talking to you. Hold it in your head, you know? I didn't go back after the first day. Then after that, I started working in therapeutic family services. So I do family counseling. And one of my supervisors was so amazing. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do therapy with you. And obviously, when they were no longer my supervisor, and I had one session, and I was just saying everything, and then she was like, you know everything, you have all the answers. And then I was like, well then, Frank, why am I doing this?
Because sometimes I feel like you may know something, but just to have that conversation and even have someone else just say it back to you, it creates a different space. Because a lot of conversations we have is just organic. The best person for you is Regine Kwaku.
Yeah, I need to find someone who's not. Don't give me the gimmicks. I know it.
No.
Okay, you know what I mean?
You want Regine.
And I don't need you to tell me what trauma I have. I know it, and I will share with you. You might even get it secondary. Okay? You know what I mean?
No. But she thought you. But Khan, to bring it back all together, how can people take part of the session? How many sessions? I think there are about 12 sessions you're doing.
Yeah, so it's a 12-week program. There's also built into a day retreat. So we took the group last year to Beaucheval, essentially.
Oh, that's fancy.
So there's a story behind this. So Beaucheval is equine assisted learning. Essentially what it is work with horses. And the first thing that most people assume is that, okay, I'm gonna be riding a horse, you're gonna learn how to do that, like, you know, urban cowboy, if you will. What it really is essentially is in pairs or in groups, you are tasked with guiding the horse through certain exercises and certain objectives. And what you understand, what the beauty of it, what really kind of blew my mind, is that essentially it's really an exercise in your relationship with yourself and mindfulness. And so based on like your ability to focus, where you are emotionally, your relationship with like an animal or something of power.
Yeah.
What was really cool essentially is that it has a lot of applications in terms of like understanding who you are, assertiveness, finding your voice, emotional regulation and intelligence. Can help you in terms of with anxiety, managing of stress.
I could just so picture that.
Commanding a room. So
a horse that doesn't want to move and someone like, come on, come on.
well, we were a group of about 13 or so black men who had never really dealt or had that relationship with horses, and everybody was absolutely in love with it. So one of our sessions in the program, we were supposed to give 30 minutes for a debrief. It took the whole session.
I need to come do the thing with the horse. I need to bring I need to bring Joe Black with the camera.
There's 4 or 5 people who've gone back on the
Okay, awesome.
No, I need to go do, because I'll get frustrated
That's
if that damn there don't want to move.
The person who runs it, Lazara, she is a fantastic, wonderful human being. Beau Cheval, yeah.
You're always giving me so much gems. You always coming.
Yeah.
Have you noticed how smooth his voice is?
Yeah, and I keep looking and I'm just like I'm trying to put the voice to the face.
You need to
put the voice to the face.
I told Khan, listen, I'll be the publisher, I'll produce. I got Joe Black the engineer. We got to do books. We got to do audio books. His first book's gonna be published under the Running with Wolves consultancy.
That's why I wonder, like, why people even listen to me. My voice is just so annoying.
No,
it's not as smooth.
You're a freaking like, you know what's funny? People's always like, oh, we love Tata and the green eyes.
My god.
I said she's so physically objectified. I'm uncomfortable. Khan, we're gonna throw the link up there on the Detour 504. We're also going to throw up the link on our website as well. Let the people know how they can join these sessions, beautiful sessions for black men.
So if you Google or go on the Black Healing Center Montreal website, you'll be able to find the program there in terms of events that are running. And through that, there is a link to the sign up.
Okay, awesome.
So the program is... we delayed it just to make sure that we have enough time for recruitment. So it's supposed to start the 31st of March.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
And what about people who are interested in following you and maybe want to take services from you?
You can find me on the Open Space Clinic website. That's the clinic that I'm a part of. You can find me on Instagram at Khan Bouba. You can also find me on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, awesome.
Khan Bouba-Dalambaye.
You still got that fancy office in Westmount?
That's open space, yeah.
Yeah, well, listen, I don't work too far from it. I forgot to tell you. I've been around the corner. Listen, Montreal, my city, one of my favorite people in the world, man. My good friend, Mr. Khan Bouba. It's always a pleasure to have you on. We'll throw that link up there. You know, let me play some more R&B. You know how we do things. It's the Morning Detour.